Hello. Oh. I don't have my glasses cleaner. I think I might need it. Because this almost looks dirty. Hold on. There, that's a little better. Okay. Hi. All right. I'm so excited. I actually scheduled only like a couple minutes, but I actually scheduled a live before I came on. That's like a huge deal for me. As far as technology, I did it. And see, I've scheduled lives before and then never been able to figure out how to go to that scheduled thing and go live. I'm proud of myself. Is this really choppy? Are you guys all plugged in? Do I have to beat you to death? You better not be.
Peter might be playing video games, but he might be plugged in.
Are you plugged in, PJ? I'm
not even on.
Just checking. Because it seems really choppy. Is it choppy? Or is it just me? So first of all, hi, that Barb girl. You were the first one here. Yay. A whoop and a nay-nay. Hi, honey. And Steven, Breezy Living, and Deem, hi. Amber, hello. Hi, Jack. Wow, I haven't done that. See, I feel very technologically aware. I probably am not. It's probably like the simplest thing, and it took me however long, 4.5 years to figure it out, but that's okay. Long hair, skinny-eyed toe, hello. It doesn't seem choppy to you? Oh, good. Maybe it's just on here. That's good. Hi, M.A. Hi, Nancy. Why do I feel like I need my glasses all the time now? And I feel like, again, I'm super, super white, which, okay, let's be honest. I am super, super white, but, whew, like I don't need to be that white. All right. That's better. Okay. Owl's Perch, hello. Out at dinner, but wanted to be in the chat. Hi, honey. Hi, Ember Moon. And Nancy and Johnny Dragon. Hi, honey. Okay. So I'm trying to stall to allow a couple minutes for people to come in. Because this is our second video on shadow work, which is super important for everybody to do at some point when they feel like they're able. Hello, Pamela. How are you? I know it has been a long time. I want to say ahead of time, though, waiting on my tea, yay. I want to say ahead of time that if you are not doing a lot of affirmation work, if you are not in a place where you can mentally and spiritually do shadow work, then be careful. Don't dive into shadow work when you don't have a life rope, you know, when you don't have something to pull you back out. Because shadow work can be something that you dive into with good intentions and then you kind of lose yourself. So make sure that you are, you know, holding on to some kind of life rope. Hi, Pat. Hi, Donna. So I'm going to say that pretty much every time we do a video on shadow work because I don't want to feel like I'm responsible for someone diving in and getting lost and not being able to get back out of it. It's super, super important, more than at any other time. Shauna will be in a few. Perfect. Hi, Sarana. When you are doing shadow work, to specifically be very good to yourself and do a lot of affirmation work along with it. Okay. Hi, Miss 64. So let me say that I do recommend when you start doing shadow work that you start also by pulling out some affirmation decks if you have affirmation decks. If you don't have affirmation decks, then look back on what exactly do you mean by life rope? I mean, make sure that you are doing just as much positive for yourself as you are negative. And if you don't know, if you're not sure, have someone in your life, be it online or in real life, that can say to you, you know what, I think you're getting a little too deep because you seem super depressed, and perhaps you need to back off a little bit and, you know, do some good stuff for you and make yourself feel better about yourself today. And things are getting too dark for you. So have someone that knows you well enough to say, okay, hold on, take a day for you to feel good. So that you don't dive in so deep that, you know, you don't know if you can get back. The Untethered Soul, that's a good one. That's kind of real positive. I'm trying to think, where's the one that Shauna has now is a really good one. All my decks are kind of, not all of them are packed up, but all of them are all over the place and not where I normally keep them. So good luck. Sometimes I can find what I want. Sometimes I cannot. And right now I cannot. Yeah, I can't see nothing. But I have something. Okay. All right. 28 in chat and only 3 likes. Yes, please smash the like button for me, because that gets this video seen a little bit more. I have a stalker card that has been coming up in the Queen of the Moon deck, the self-love card. It's been a good reminder when doing shadow work. Perfect. What if you don't connect well with affirmation? Well, Stephen, you mean with affirmation decks or with affirmation in general? Because if you don't connect well with affirmation in general, that's one of your shadows. Why not? Why don't you connect well with affirmation? So that is a good time to do shadow work on that specifically. And in the meantime, make sure that you have someone like me, Stephen, who can say to you, oh, wait, are you doing shadow work? Because all of a sudden, things are getting really dark for you. Hi, Jack. So far for me, it's kind of the opposite. I've had really bad episodes of depression, but with this, at least I know I'm working towards something and it feels lighter. Exactly. Affirmations in general. So, Stephen, that specifically is a shadow for you. So that is one of the first things I would work on in shadow, is really taking apart why affirmations are so hard for you. Why is it so hard for you to be nice to yourself? Why is it so hard for you to say, you know what, Stephen, you rock. You are really good at this. There's something that shadow that you need to start with is specifically stepping back and taking a look at why you feel it very difficult to toot your own horn, to allow the compliments in, to that kind of thing. And that is, a lot of people go through that. A lot of people go through that. Austin has a positivity jar, all good things. And when he feels down, and every day he pulls one out to be positive, that's an awesome idea. For sure. You write down the stuff that you know you're good at, the stuff that you have been able to in the past. Pat yourself on the back and say, you know what? Hey, I'm really good at this. And I know I'm awesome at this. Shauna said, if anyone needs help with positivity and affirmations, she is more than willing to help, even if it's a simple daily message boosting you up. That's right. Perfect. And have somebody that can do that. For sure. I know that affirmations don't make sense logically. We always want proof of how good we are, and what we don't realize is that we have the power to make ourselves good or not. So true. Okay. So the work that I'm going to be doing this year with shadow work a lot of it is coming from this book, which I started talking about earlier in the year. I got it earlier in the year. Hi, Sue. And it's Tarot for Troubled Times. And it's specifically about shadow work and how to use the tarot. Now, I like this book a lot. I haven't even gotten very far in this book. I'm still in the first chapter, which is why I like using books like this, because I start out with it sparks an idea in me and allows me to look at things that I may not have looked at in the same way. And suddenly I'm off and running and I have a whole video to do that has very little to do with the book other than it said, oh, look, this is an idea. And then I took that and said, oh, yeah, and I want to take it here. So definitely, that book is amazing. Yes, it is. Absolutely. It is very good. Remember that affirmations can be as simple as I put my shoes on the right feet. Exactly. It doesn't have to be, I saved a woman's life once, or it can be, I have a nice smile today. I smiled at someone and made them feel good about themselves. I was able to compliment someone else. That's a self-affirmation itself. Yes, for sure. For sure. Okay. Now, I have to get one thing up here because here it is. Okay, perfect. All right. So let me start. Let me pull my notes out. So what I want to start with tonight is talking about personal empowerment. And that goes along with self-affirmation work. It goes along with being able to, hi, Dana. How are you, sweetie? Goes along with being able to pull out the shadows. Hi, Shauna. That you are keeping. So let's go back really quickly because I want to make sure that everyone is on the same page in case people weren't here for the first shadow work. We talked about one of the things, kind of the homework for tonight was, as an addict in recovery, some of our groups are started by saying, what's right with us today? Perfect, for sure. Some of the homework was going to be to recognize what makes us uncomfortable. So when you're watching TV, sometimes somebody gets themselves, hi, Sherry Bug, into a situation that you're like, ugh. Ooh, that's uncomfortable. And recognizing that. And I knew there would be homework. And being able to look at it and say, okay, write some of that down. And that's kind of a continuing homework. So when we recognize a situation on TV or in real life, hi, Deb, that makes us uncomfortable, whether we recognize why it makes us uncomfortable or not, we should be writing that down. And saying, okay, I have some examples now. This stuff makes me uncomfortable. So that we can go back to it and say, okay, what is it in the shadows of myself that made that situation so uncomfortable for me? And for some people, it's just being there. Right, exactly. Usually it is the person is confronting something that within ourselves that we have not been able to confront or pull out of the shadows of ourself, which then allows us to recognize that. So part of the way, still hacking, but plague is gone. Well, that's at least it's not plague anymore. That's good. I have to say that I woke up today sick, and Peter has been sick for days, and I keep saying, you're not going to get me sick. And I woke up sniffling, sneezing, feeling awful. And I was going to bring it up too. Oh, thank you, Sherry. So sweet of you. Thank you, honey. I took a mucus relief pill that worked wonders. I feel so much better. Like I thought, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do my video tonight. And here I am. And it worked awesome. Ever since my dad died, I haven't been healthy mentally or physically. I've been trying to do shadow work, but I just pushed to the back of my mind because it hurts too much. And sometimes that's okay. Oh, and the elderberry. Yep. Up the elderberry. And I did. I pulled my elderberry syrup out and I took extra tablespoonfuls this morning. Absolutely. And sometimes we have to recognize that it's still raw and we still need that. That shadow is there for a reason, and that's okay. And we'll get to that. So I want to talk though about personal empowerment and how we get to the point where we are able to personally empower ourselves. And I'm going to start with a quote from the book, which says, "We have confused personal strength with domination over perceived opponents." So in society today, we have confused what personal strength is. And a lot of people view personal strength as how much we can dominate an opponent. And that's not what personal strength is. The attempt to segregate, control, and draw lines in the sand has bred so much fear. But there's another way of being. Relinquish the need to dominate what is outside of you and learn to ride the tide of your personal power within. We can't move past something if we don't let it run its course. Yes, for sure, Dana. Yes. I told Pat the other day I'm going to start my shadow work. The beginning is going to be dark. His reply, "Baby, I'm here. We got this." See, you need someone like Pat in your life. Exactly. Like you aren't strong unless you win. Yes. Oh, so much so. And I know that people are called snowflakes because everybody has to win and stuff. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about that self-personal empowerment of looking at something in a different way and being able to say, just because I didn't achieve a goal doesn't mean that I didn't achieve personal goals there, that I didn't learn something from it, that there wasn't a reason. The definition of failure is not that something didn't work. It's that you gave up and said, I'm not going to do it anymore. That's the failure. The failure isn't that something that you tried didn't work. The failure is that you took that as defeat. That's not defeat. That is, what did I need to learn from this experience to move that on to the next experience, right? Just saying this now, and this for everyone here, and I'll say it again later. All of my social media info is on my page. Please do not hesitate to add me. Me too, for sure. Me too. So what happens when you do dominate, when you dominate a field, when you dominate another person, does that lead you to personal empowerment? Is that true personal empowerment when you can say, yes, I defeated this person? No, that has nothing to do with your personal empowerment, not whatsoever. Stop trying to explain yourself or bring people over to your side. You have nothing to prove to anyone else. Just be you. I lean on you guys for support. I don't have inside my own home, and you're all amazing at helping me work through and past things. Mama's my therapist. Well, my good I don't think I've ever been called a therapist before. I love it. I'll take that. I didn't find 100 ways to fail. I found 100 ways to not try again. That's exactly right. I found 100 ways that didn't work with what I'm trying to accomplish. So now that's 100 things I don't have to try again. I know ahead of time. Society makes us feel like we need to prove ourselves. That's right. They try to define what winning means. They try to define what our self-empowerment looks like. And they can't define that. Only we can define that. My sweet, loving, hard-headed therapist, Mama. That's true. I am not your normal therapist who, says, well, what do you think about that? Also remember that mentally we can accept something, but our feelings haven't gotten there yet. Yes. So self-empowerment is finding an inner well of truth that can forever nourish you on the ride of life. Through good and bad, empowerment is your wild sister reminding you of your innate strengths and talent. She shows you how to hold space rather than dominate. So when something bad happens, or something we perceive as bad, the way to change the way we're looking at it takes several things that take practice. And I want to say ahead of time, a therapist who says, shut the fuck up. That's right, Stephen. several times a day, don't I, Dana? When something that we perceive as bad happens, the trick is to be able to stop and take yourself outside of the situation long enough to look at it in a different light. You have to look at the issue with the specific task of finding the lesson. Somewhere in here there's a reason that I am feeling this pain. There's a reason that I have reached this blockade. And being able to take a step back to look at it as a whole is not easy. And it's not going to happen every time for you right away. It takes practice. Do not beat yourself up when you don't do this every time. No one does this every time. Once you get this revelation of the ability to live in the moment, in the present moment, which is really what we're talking about, and I'll go into that more. It doesn't mean, oh, I got the revelation, I'm good now. I will never again not live in the present moment. And when I am challenged or feel defeated by someone or something, I will never again say, oh, that's it. I guess it happens a lot. And it happens a lot. It can happen in the same situation you're in from minute to minute. You can be able to step outside of it for a second and be like, oh, wait, okay, I'm seeing there's a lesson in there. And then your ego, your pain body comes up again and says, oh, you think you found the lesson. I'm going to smack you right down again. And you're wasted again and thinking, what the hell am I doing? I'm an idiot. And that's part of the lesson, is learning to be able to step outside, learning over and over and over again to empower yourself when you need to. Mama says, shut the fuck up in the most loving way possible. That's right. A lot. There's always something to work on within ourselves. You could have the opposite problem. You could look at it in a different way too much and not know how you really feel about it. That's true. It's true. Oh, Mama, I got over my subconscious fear to read long distance. You did? Yay! Good for you, Pat. And it worked really well. And you were right on, weren't you? Like a muscle, you have to exercise it. For sure. For sure. So when we learn to look at the issue with the specific task of finding the lesson, that is what turns it into an empowering experience. Hi, Claire. Happy Sunday. Oh, it might be Sunday to where you are, huh? It's still Saturday night. Don't turn it into Sunday for me yet. So the other empowerment is this. No one is you. No one has had the same set of experiences as you. So you have to realize deeply and truly that no one has the ability to share your perspective. So no matter what someone else, if you look at someone, sometimes, I think I was talking to Dana about this. It's your birthday. Yay! Happy birthday. I saw that, Liam. That's awesome. Happy birthday. It was on Lindy and Aiden and Little Cosmic Crow live last night, and we were all reading together. Yay! Perfect. I love it. Happy birthday. So I think I was talking to Dana where I said, it always cracks me up when people look, they'll message me like on Facebook or something, and I message them back, and they act like a fan, like they girl out, and I'm always like, oh honey, you have no idea, like I pick my nose. I think that's what I said to her. You have no idea that I pick my nose. You have no idea that I'm just a person. And when people look at me like that, two things. One is I have to consciously be able to say to them and to me, they don't understand that I'm just a person, that I'm just like you. I don't ever say, if you notice, I will never say I know everything about a topic, that I am an expert at a topic. I'm the first one to say, oh, you could be right, because sometimes I don't know shit. And there's a reason for that. Part of that is, a little piece of that is my ego in the background saying, I don't want to be knocked down. I know, and I've learned from experience, that the first time I try to say, I know what I'm doing here, that's when I fall on my ass. And I refuse to allow myself to do that, for one thing, because I'm like, no, because I know that I'm not an expert at anything. So that's the first part of it. And the other part of it is, I want people to think that they can talk to me like they can anyone else, because they can. Because I'm just like you. I fuck up all the time. So I want, in order to share the knowledge that I have acquired from my life experiences, I want you to believe that you can just talk to me, because you can. All right, wait, I've missed some. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, it was me. I said I'm a huge fan of you, but I still text you that my ass crack is burning in public. That's right. I do now. Remember that. Sherry Bug, for me, the hardest part is integrating shadow healthily. I'm aware of my shadows, but making them a part of my healthy. All right, we'll get there, Sherry Bug. We will. I don't want to jump ahead of people. She's the most down to earth person I know. Thank you. Dana, you made me pee my pants. Sharing knowledge together. Exactly. People fangirl you. Yes. Right? Should I dismantle my shrine to you then? Ah! Yes, please. Hi, Trish. Hi, Janice. We all shit in a potty. That's right. You can't fall on here and make sure no one sees. That's right. Exactly. And if you know ahead of time that you're going to fall, and you tell people you're going to fall, then when you fall, it's not a big surprise. I don't want people to look at me like on a pedestal, because I'm a lazy, I'm an extremely, yeah. What is the word I'm looking for? Hold on. I'm having a stroke. Klutz. I'm a huge klutz. So I know I'm going to fall. And if you know that ahead of time, then it won't be a big shock to you. Hi, Janice. And which ways? Hello. Radiation has my shit on fire. I know. I don't mind hearing all the juicy details, Dana. You know I don't. I hope that stuff we got you helps you. Hi, Anne. This is for everyone. Yeah. Oh, hi, Cass. How are you, sweetie? Hi, it's my mama squirrel shrine. What altar? You guys are terrible. Okay, so no one, you have to look at the fact, though, that no one has the same experiences as you. So you and I are on the same plane. We're on the same level. You have, thank you, Cass. I have my Viking braids going on today. You have the same ability to teach me as much as I can teach you, because my experiences are going to be extremely different than what you have experienced in your life. And my ability to, my need to be a sponge, hi Hexen, wants to reach out and learn from you as much as you want to learn from me. I cannot learn what you have to give me unless you give it to me, because no one else can teach me what you can. Okay, which puts us on the same level. Just because I'm able to press go live here doesn't mean that I in some way have some ability that you don't. We all have something to teach each other. Exactly. Okay, so the key here is there is power in our shadows. And what do I mean by that? Your shadows are different than my shadows, and you have power in your shadows. Do not give away the power of your shadows. Do not belittle your shadows. Do not tell your shadows that they are worthless. Do not tell your shadows that they are any less than any other part of yourself that you embrace and hold up to honor. Because your shadows make you who you are. That doesn't mean you will always need those shadows. Hi, Kim. Who else did I miss? Somebody else came in too. Sorry if I missed you. Hello. Your shadows are just as important to who you are as the thing that you lead with every day. Hi, Edward. The name of the book is Tarot for Troubled Times. Very, very, very good book. So you must learn to embrace your shadows as much as your perceived strengths. Can you see how wonderful you are that you were able to create this shadow to protect yourself? That's right. Your shadows come from survival. How awesome. How incredibly awesome. Will I link the book? Yes. Yes, yes. How incredibly awesome are you that your need to protect was able to create this shadow for troubled times to protect you, and honor that that which created the shadow. Honor that piece of you that did that, because it's awesome. It's awesome that it was able to create that shadow to protect you. Now, hopefully, shit. Of course it is. God damn it. Hold on, let me get a smaller one. It's too many numbers. Oh, good. Here we go. I hate when you look up something and it gives you 8 million different. Hold on. Shadows only become an issue when we no longer need them, and yet it lingers. Exactly. And that's what we're going to be learning, is how to decide that. The first thing to do with it is to be able to recognize it. And so that's what we're working on, is the first step of being able to recognize the shadow. Okay. Did I miss anything else? You got the book on Kindle? Good. Okay. Yes. So recognize how clever and amazing you are that you had to hide that piece to protect it. How amazing that you were able to hide that piece that you needed to protect, that you found that way to build that wall. We need affiliate links, right? So did that link work? If you click on that, did that give you where the book can be? Hello, Wisconsin. Yes, it worked. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay. So when you can make money with affiliate sales on Amazon by bringing people. I'm sure you can. I don't really know how to do that because, again, I'm technologically retarded. Okay. All right. So then I talk about myself a little bit. I'm an affiliate, but nobody buys from my links. I don't know how to do that crap. So I started my channel. When I started my channel, my practice had one basic concept in mind. And I thought, wow, you know what? This is going to be a really short channel. Like, I'm going to not be able to get anybody to come to my channel to learn from me, because really, if you know me and you've been following me for this long, what's my one basic concept? You all know what my one basic concept is. We got to make t-shirts to say it so that everybody knows it. But my motto, my saying for everything, that's right. There you go, Pat. If it works for you, it works, right? TLC got it. Yep. I use World Relief Link. Makes me feel less guilty. There you go. If it works for you, it works. If it works for you, it works. I'm so proud. I'm so proud that you all knew that. And that's right. So when I started this channel, I thought, well, wow, this is going to be really short because really it's going to be one video that just says that over and over and over. Does that work for you? Awesome. Then guess what? It works. It's magical. It does the trick. Do you feel like that stone works for that? It does. Does that herb make you feel more empowered in this thing you're trying to do? Then it works. Done. End of channel. Now, I have since realized that there's other things that I can say that kind of lead back to that same thing, but every single video I do kind of all goes back to that concept. So that's different for everyone. That means, so that means that you get to teach people how to tell if it works for them. Yep, that's true. That's true. So why did when I did that, was that purely to empower you? Was my intention so pure? Was I such an angel that was my only intention, was to empower you? No. Hate to say it, but some of that was selfish because it empowers me too. And why does that empower me? Because if I can teach you to shine, and you're shining brightly in your world, then other people notice you. And when other people notice you, they're going to try to figure out what made you empowered. And when they figure out what made you empowered, that it's this web of connection that we're all connected to, then that creates another piece of the web that connects us all, that web that I talk about all the time. And what is stronger? A piece of web with 1 or 2 links to it, or a piece of web with hundreds of links? A piece of web with hundreds of links, thousands of links, millions of links is way, way stronger. And then what gets stronger? I get stronger, and you get stronger, and we all get stronger because there's that many more connections. This is going to be a lot harder to break than this. So there is a piece of that is for me too. That is completely to allow me to be stronger, to allow me to reach out to more people. Is that why the picture we saw while waiting for the live was a web? Yes, that's it. Sorry if I'm in and out. I'm very sick. Oh, honey, we love you. I'm sorry too. I'm so sorry. I know, Claire, I'm so sorry that those fires are going on. We have been sending energy for sure. It's horrible, horrifying, and awful. Okay, so that was, that was a little bit selfish too. If I feel better about myself if I'm helping someone else. Yep. You never thought about that in means of empowerment. Exactly. And I am going to be more empowered when you are empowered. And that's why, too, it almost, all right, not almost, it ticks me off when I see something online, or like somebody just, was it Holly, I think, that just put a question on the Facebook group, and someone had said, oh, it was this full moon. Don't charge your crystals. Remember, don't charge your crystals this full moon because it won't work and it'll make your crystals all wonky. So, in other words, here is someone else trying to tell us what works for us. Really? What in the world do you think gives you the right to tell me what works for me? What it pisses me off to a level I can't even, like, it so irks me. I want to follow back to who said that and be able to say to their face, you're an idiot. I'm missing all kinds of stuff, aren't I? I'm really sorry. Yes, it's your new healed self busting out. I agree. For sure. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Be Young. My moon is in Cancer, so this full moon eclipse was jamming. Perfect, right? That face works for me. It made me smile. Just finished my live. Oh, good. I have to go back and watch it because I was super interested in it. It was really hard for me to leave it to do my own live, but I knew I had said I was supposed to be out at 7:30. So it's super hard for me to not go and punch someone when they do that. I just have to say that out loud. Because, and that's why my mantra, if it works for you, it works. That's why it's so important to me. Because how dare you try to disempower someone else's energy? How dare you try to say this won't work for you? Who the fuck do you think you are to tell someone else what works for them is not correct? It irks me to a level of violence, for real. Like, I try not to allow it to do that, but it does anyways. I want to kill people. So, and I'm trying to remember what my point was now. Empowering outside yourself helps you empower inside yourself. Yes. Okay. So that web of connection empowers all of us. So that's what I was saying. So once I empower you, when I empower you and I say, you know what, try it out. Does that work for you? It does work for you. Awesome. Do that again. See what else empowers you. That web of connection now has gotten stronger because you have found stuff that empowers you and makes your individual web stronger, which makes our entire web now that much stronger because we're all more empowered when the web is more empowered. Which is why it ticks me off so bad. I don't understand why people who have this weird competitive thing where they're like, even with channels and I know I've talked before about like Pinterest and how I hate the Pinterest. I don't know what to call them. The people who are like, this is my pin and my pin alone. And if I pin this pin on my board and you repin it onto your board, that somehow lessens my pin. Or this is my idea alone. Now, I'm not saying like art or, Pinterest pirates. I think they're Pinterest pirates. I think they want all the booty for themselves. It kills me. I literally have been blocked from some witchy people in the Pinterest community because I put their pins on my board too much. Like, I took it directly from their board. So whatever they, had it pinned to, when you click on the pin, it still goes back to them. But I don't want to try to look for it again on your board. I have it on my board. Why does that mean that somehow that lessened it? Well, make your pin private if you don't want to share. Exactly. I just don't understand. All of my social info is on my page. Yes, Pat. Yes. They're there to be shared. I know people are nuts. They need to put a pin in it. Yes, I thought that was the whole point too. Like, I literally, when I got blocked, I was like, you blocked me? I think I even like wrote a message to this one girl And I was like, did you really block me because I repinned what you had pinned? And she goes, if you read my rules on my page, it explicitly says that you can try the pins out, that you can blah, blah, but you cannot repin them to your own board. Okay, well, I didn't read your rules for your whatever. Hi, Witchy in the Woods. Isn't Pinterest supposed to be shared? I thought so. I don't know. You can see, but no touchy. Yes. I have been blocked from some very big witches, by the way, on Pinterest. Like, who it used to be in the day, like half of the witch pins came from this one woman. And so every time, like, it would annoy the crap out of me. I'd be going through Pinterest and I'd be like, oh, save that one to this board. And it would say, oh, I'm sorry, you've been blocked by this person. And then I'm like, really? Okay. So here's what's worse is now I go, oh, well, guess what? I still want that pin. So now I'm going to click save this image to my personal computer. And now I'm just going to upload it like I pinned it. Now what? She probably took it from another board anyhow. I know. It's so weird. Lord of ego tripping. Yes. Yes, exactly. It's meant to drive traffic to your blog. And I get that. And that's what I mean, though. Like, if they took it from their blog, I repinned exactly what they pinned. So it still would go back to their blog. Like, go ahead. It's not like until they blocked me. And then if they blocked me, yeah, then the image got put back on there like it was mine. Unless it's art. I won't do that if, like, you drew something or you, whatever. I won't do that. But if you blocked me for something stupid, like, this gave me an idea and I still want that idea, but I'm not, like, my memory does not go far enough to say, oh yeah, this idea was on this person's board. Then I'm saving it and putting it on there anyway. What were you just saying about personal power? Exactly. Yeah, I would think that drove traffic their way too. Me too. Ego. That's exactly it. Hi, Brian. No, please share my art. Right. Well, exactly. And if I can do that, and that's my point. I mean, I won't save something to my personal computer without saying where it comes from. So, like, sometimes if you click on like a picture that I think is a pretty, like, pagan picture, and instead of taking you to the website of the artist, it just, like, blows the picture up more. Like, so someone just saved a picture onto there and didn't give it the credit where it came from. I won't save that. Because unless I can say this is the artist that it came from, I don't want to take credit for that. Right, exactly. So, okay. Yes. So it just is, it's funny to me. And the same thing from Pinterest to Facebook pages to, I don't know, to me, because everything that I have is an open book, I just feel like I just repin things I like. Yes, exactly. Saving it for ideas. That's exactly what I do, Cass. But apparently that is, to Pinterest pirates, that is not allowed. So that, to me, is weakening the web of connection that I try to teach. And that's why I am trying to do as many videos as I can and get as many people to understand the web of connection of the universe the way I do, because that makes it stronger. Every time one of you gets stronger, I get stronger. Couldn't they just put a watermark? Yes. Yep, they could. But they chose to block me. I'll have to try to find her because I know she's still big, but Marge, I follow Mama Squirrel, so maybe you can go to her followers and find me that way. I'm so open that it would have never occurred to me that they may not want me to do that. It didn't me either until I got blocked. Honestly, I was like, that's why I messaged her, because I'm like, wait, did you block me for some reason? And she was like, yes, that's the rules on my. Okay. Oh, yeah, I block creeps too. Like the ones who try to message you, like, hey, honey, where you at? I hate that. Like, dude, Pinterest especially. Pinterest has nothing to do with dating. So can you please not try to do like phone sex and internet porn on Pinterest? That's just insane. I hate that. So if you are a person who has messaged me on Pinterest, and just said, hey there, or hi, I automatically think you're some kind of perv. So if you really want to talk to me about pagan stuff, or like I've also talked to people on Pinterest before who said, hey, I am new to the path and blah, blah, blah. I'll answer that once I see it, although I forget to actually look at it half the time. But I will talk to them, but I'm not going to talk to you if I think you're just like some guy who is weird and pervy. That's not insane. That's desperate. Yes. Yes. Hi, Krista. There's porn on Pinterest. Oh, yeah. All right, Janice. We don't even have the same customer base. I never once did anything to them. I've actually helped their lives, right? So anyway, yes, that's it. That's empowering. So if you're empowering the outer world, you're empowering the inner world. Hi, Renee. The storm is getting bad. Oh no, be safe, be safe, be safe. Or say, hey, Mama Squirrel, got a question. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Mama Squirrel, got a question? I will totally answer that. Because then I know you know me from here. Only Pinterest rules matter on that site. Anyone who has personal rules is, well, got issues. There are tornado watches and warnings. You guys be safe. Oh my goodness. You scare me, Dana. If I suddenly can't get a hold of you, I'm going to be like calling your mother. Hey, is she okay? Okay. Okay, so all of that, all of what we just talked about, that can be easy to say and not so easy to do. So how do we start the practice? Number one of starting this practice of recognizing the self. And trying to remember now, did I really explain what we're doing first? All right. Number one is learning to recognize everything as an experience. Okay? Learning to recognize everything as an experience. Every problem, every piece of pain, so this empowerment is like the meme, fix the other woman's crown without telling the world it was crooked. Yep. Absolutely. For sure. Every experience should be a learning experience. No riding besoms and tornadoes, no matter how much fun Wizard of Oz made it look like. Yes. Every day during 2020 has been shit. Renee, you are not the only one, honey. A lot of us have felt like, what the hell? How do you do that? How do you recognize everything that comes up as an experience? It's not easy. I'm not going to ever tell you it's easy. I am going to say it starts with recognizing the two separate beings within ourselves. What the hell am I talking about, right? I'm sure some of you are going, what the hell are you talking about? Two separate beings. How is there two separate beings? There are two separate beings inside of ourselves. And they fight each other. They fight each other a lot. You can call them the ego and the true self. You can call them the ego and the id. You can call them your good self and your bad self, although I wouldn't recommend that because I don't think of them as two separate or one bad and one good. I think they're equal. It's just what society has put on. The shadow side has made it seem like the shadow is bad, and it's not. It's a piece of ourselves that we have to learn to love too. There is an image of our true self that we all strive for. It's an impossible image that is usually unable to be achieved. And so that separates us into two different beings, two different entities within ourselves. So does that mean, that we have split personality disorder? Kind of, a little. That explains me being fluffy. I was eating for two. Uh-oh, what did I miss? What did Dana say now? Ugh, I'll be hiding under the mattress. Damn it. Okay. So you ready? I want to explain this concept to you in a way. Every time I explain this concept, I do it through this one experience, because this is when it finally hit me what this experience was, what people meant by the ego, how to bring yourself into present moment awareness. I want you guys to pay attention. I'm so glad you're having fun, but this is the most important part of this. You said we had two separate beings. Beings. Okay. And if you've seen this before on my channel, it's because this is not the first time I've talked about this specific thing. This is Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle explains it in the beginning chapters of The Power of Now. He explains how it came to be that he realized that there are two selves. Okay, and so I'm going to read you this part of his story, okay? One night in 1977, at the age of 29, after having suffered from a depression for most of his life, Tolle says he experienced an inner transformation. That night, he awakened from his sleep, suffering from an unbearable dread and thoughts of suicide. Eckhart Tolle experienced a life-changing epiphany. I couldn't live with myself any longer. And in this question arose without an answer, who is the I that cannot live with the self? I cannot live with myself anymore. What is the self and what is the I? I didn't know at the time that what really happened was the mind-made self with its heaviness and problems that lives between the unsatisfying past and the fearful future collapsed. It dissolved. The next morning I woke up and everything was so peaceful. The peace was there because there was no self. Just a sense of presence, of observing and watching. Eckhart stopped studying for his doctorate. For around 2 years after this experience, he spent much of his time sitting in a state of deep bliss on park benches in Russell Square, central London, watching the world go by. He stayed with friends in a Buddhist monastery or otherwise slept rough on Hampstead Heath. His family thought him irresponsible, even insane. A 2012 interview article states that he saw the name Eckhart on one of a pile of books in a dream, and he knew that he had written the book. So soon after, he started writing a book about how this enlightenment came about and how to achieve this enlightenment. Mindfulness, being in the present without judgment. That's right. Being able to just observe and watch. So it's recognizing the ego. It's recognizing the thing in our life and recognizing without judgment. You cannot look at ego and say, oh, ego, you evil fucking thing. How dare you make me look like an asshole because you protect it. It's protecting us. It is the way that our mind has learned to protect us from things that it can't quite handle. But we can recognize it. And when we recognize it, and we see it for what it is this protective layer outside of us that is doing that It's like extra skin that we wear. Yes. When we are able to see it, we then can step outside of it. Step outside of it and observe and say, okay, here's where we're at. This is what's going on. Saw something on Pinterest. You will get there, but right now you are here, and here is wonderful. Yes, it is. You're able to step outside of it and observe and say, why is it that my ego is trying to protect me? Did you take any of that class that he and Oprah did? I did, Deb. I did take some. I didn't get to finish it. I totally meant to always go back and finish it, and I just never got the opportunity to do that. But yes, I totally did take some of that. It's important to realize we can't always be mindful either, though. Absolutely. And don't forget, how many times now have I said from the beginning? It must be in my notes. I know I say it over and over. This is way easier said than done. And this is something, again, you have to learn not to beat yourself up when you realize it, because it's a vicious cycle. The ego is always going to try to protect you. So the ego says, okay, I'm glad that you realized that I was here, but who do you think you are by telling me to go away for a while? I protect you. Me, I protect you. How dare you try to put me aside for a second? I'm going to make you think, yeah, okay, you got it once, but you're never going to be able to hold on to that feeling. You're never going to be able to stay in the present moment forever. So you need me. You need me, and it's not going to want to die. It's not going to want to break away and never come back again. It's always going to be with us. And we need to recognize that and say it's okay. The most important thing, it's like an addict, guys. When you go through an addiction and you're trying to be clean, the counselor will say to you, you're going to fall. You're going to screw up. You're not going to perfectly go without ever drinking again, without ever doing that drug again. When you fall, though, the most important thing is not to say, how dare you? Oh, you better drink some more now, because you might as well. You screwed up and that's it. You're done. The most important thing is to say, oh, shit, you know what? I didn't recognize that. So now I do. Now I can look at it and try to stay now in the positive, in the present moment. Now, from here, let me now go back and do that. And how cool that I recognize that again. Okay? Think of it as a Jiminy Cricket. My ego is like an inner mama. It is okay not to be okay. So okay. It is so okay not to be okay. I was telling my son the same thing about an hour ago. Perfect. Relapse is not mandatory. For everyone here, yep. Perfect. The Cherokee story of two wolves makes a lot of sense. Yes, we need the dark and the light, but they are in conflict. We need to work on recognizing which one we are feeding, right? That always resonated with me too. Well, which one wins? Well, which one are you feeding? Right? I tell my son the same. It's important that you learn from those. We will always make mistakes. For sure. My mom used to say, don't kick yourself when you're already down. That's right. Yes. I'm way too hard on myself. Yes, we all are. And it's funny. It's like I said, it's this vicious cycle. You want to do better. And then, so when you recognize that you fall, you go, oh, you idiot. You fell into that trap. And then your ego goes, yeah, you are an idiot. Why try that again? You know that doesn't work. It's this vicious cycle. So again, let me go back to, there is an image we have of ourselves. This image that we have that is our inner true self that we all strive for. That is an impossible image to live up to. The image that we have of ourselves is perfect. Doesn't ever do anything wrong. Is always kind, is always generous, is always thoughtful, is always self-giving, is always, it's perfect. Star Wars, we need to balance the force. Yes. It is also completely unable to be achieved. The goal should be to accept all the pieces of ourselves and make them one. Every piece, that means the shadow, that means the light, every piece, and make them one self. That's the goal. Let me tell you ahead of time, it is a lifelong process of trying that will never, ever be accomplished. It will never work completely. Ever. So don't make that the part where you win. You make it the goal in life, the stuff in between. Stephanie, it's so funny that you just did that. All right, so Stephanie just said, happiness can be found in the darkest of times if only one remembers to turn on the light. So true. And I am going to talk about Dumbledore and Harry too here, Stephanie, because what it said to me, it's funny that stuff goes back to Harry Potter. It totally does. Dumbledore says to Harry about the Mirror of Erised, the happiest and most satisfied person in the world would look in the mirror and see a reflection of them exactly as they were, for they then would have no one and nothing more to yearn or desire for that the mirror could ever show them. The Mirror of Erised. That's what it reminded me of. Like, if we could get to the point, that's the goal, is to get to that point where we all look in the Mirror of Erised and just see ourselves as we are. Now, is that ever going to happen perfectly? No, it's not. And that's okay. That's perfectly okay. The point in life, you ever hear people say it's the dash? When you look at your tombstone, it's not the 1972 or the date of death 2085. I'm being, way out of proportion here. It's the dash. What happened in between? That's where life lives. The in between. I tell people I hear my mom's voice in my ear. She passed in 2020. I hear my dad, and that's why I'm so harsh with myself. It's what I knew growing up, right? We have both light and dark inside of us. What shows who we truly are is which we choose to act on. Yes. Yep. For sure. For sure. For sure. Duct tape is like the Force. It has a dark side and a light side and holds the universe together. Yes. Accept all the pieces of ourselves. That's right. Just make it a cycle and a balance. Exactly. And that is why the tarot can help. That's why I am a pagan, because we follow the cycles. And of course, life is always going to be a cycle. The cycle is sometimes we're tumbling downwards and sometimes other people are lifting us up. The cycle is continuous and it keeps going. And this is what we're living in. So this is the moment that we want to be able to step outside of ourselves and say, it's okay. I love every piece of this. I'm glad you're a part of my dash too, Fairy Wold. By the way, Heather, I see you in here. And I thank you. I got your PayPal. Thank you. Okay. So when you begin to recognize the differences between the true self and the ego, the next step is to forgive the ego, to love it. Allow yourself to see the genius of how and why your ego works to protect you. Then you can also start to see the sneaky ways it tries to make you need it. It tells you you can't cast me out because you're too weak to live without my protection. Don't try that again. Don't try stepping outside of me and saying, you recognize me. Well, I recognize you too, and you're weak. You are way too weak to live in this world without me. And if the more that we can recognize that as ego, then the better we're going to get at recognizing shadow, at accepting our true selves. Praise yourself when you recognize. Praise yourself for learning to recognize that piece of ego. Every time you're able to do it, make sure you pat yourself on the back. Hey, good job, Jen. Good job. You recognized that piece of ego. When you turned around and looked at that woman like you wanted to beat the shit out of her, and then you didn't, and you backed off, and you said, oh, wait, hold on. This is my ego. Whew, look at that. I did really well with it. I recognized that was my ego. Fucking awesome, Jen. You rock. Do it. Recognize and praise yourself for being able to recognize it. Even if you didn't recognize it in time. Even if you in your regular life, you wanted to but didn't. Or you did. Let's say you did. You gave her the look and you went, you fucking bitch, under your breath, and she heard you. And then afterwards, you recognized it and you went, holy shit, that was my ego. Instead of beating yourself up, we're going to recognize, you know what? All right, you called her a bitch under your breath, but you stepped back afterwards and said, that was my ego. That was my ego. Oh, shit. I did it. Don't beat yourself up. Say, all right, fuck, I got to try to recognize it sooner. We can't grow without mistakes. That's right, because we're going to make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes over and over and over and over. But the more we can recognize them, the faster usually, eventually, we will start to learn. And when doing this shadow work, remember to keep grounded. Yes, grounded, 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 please. Whatever works for you. Hematite, black tourmaline, obsidian if it works for you. Mahogany obsidian, snowflake obsidian, something. Crazy lace agate. That's a good grounder, at least for me recently. Praise myself for recognizing that I'm beating myself up for not being perfect. That's right. Good job. You recognized that. God got some tarot art journaling done. Awesome. The moment when you don't see anything in the mirror, your lessons are done and there is no more to learn. And then you die, right? As far as I'm concerned, if I ever get to a moment where I don't have anything else to learn, I'm done. I don't expect to be breathing anymore. Then being able to look at the issue as an outside party without judgment and not immediately reacting, but trying to search for a needed lesson in it. So at some point, when we get to the point where we recognize it before we act, before we react, because living in the moment is about trying not to react to everything, but trying to measure what our reactions are. And the better we can get at that, the more we can do it before we react. So once we get to that point, then we can say, okay, this is being thrown at me by the universe. What is the universe trying to make me learn here? Can I recognize it before I walk off the cliff? When, my guides have put up warning signs all around it saying, hey, you idiot, Jen. Woo! Hello. See the big flashing light up here that says warning, warning, warning? Can I learn to see that before I walk off the cliff and remember, oh, wait, I did see that warning sign back there. This must be what it was about before I'm falling. And you may have to fall sometimes. I fall all the damn time. Way more than I want to. But eventually, instead of stepping off the cliff, we'll notice the warning sign before we get there. Hi, Darkstorm. How are you, sweetheart? Are you guys safe over there? I keep a Danish shungite in each pocket with my healerite. Love it. Where we can respond, not react. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. Yes. I struggle with this, especially at work. I react. I have 3 crystal turtles I bought from Cass to remind me to be slow, to react, take a breather, and it helps. Perfect, right? If you feel that turtle, you're like, okay, hold on. Whoo. Don't let your ego run away. Take a step back for a second. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I just don't have the money right now. Yes, you're safe. Only smoke in the air. Well, good. We'll hope that helps and stays away from you. The best lesson I ever learned was that sometimes the best reaction is to give zero outward reaction. One time I fell so hard I went to the hospital. Quick to love and slow to anger. I think we all want to be as wise as Yoda and as perfectly cute as baby Yoda. That's right. It's perfectly cute as baby. Yay. Hi, Roseanne. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So I've had people say to me, is that true? Is there really a lesson in everything that comes up? There's a lesson to be learned. In every issue that happens, there's a lesson. There is a lesson in everything that comes up. I felt like an emotional toddler all year, emotionally reactive. I used to keep all my emotions under lock and key. After 40 more years, things tend to blow. Okay, so that's the issue, though. Keeping them under lock and key is not dealing with them, right? The point of shadow work is to be able to pull these shadows out. And this is just the beginning piece here. All right, Dana, it's okay, sweetheart. We're still sending you love and anti-nausea love and anti-inflammatory skin love. And try to remember it's not always about me, so don't react personally. Yep, you don't have to do this alone. That's right. And I'm an emotional bottler. We all are to some extent. We all have anti-nausea love is the best love. Oh, I know for you right now, for sure. I love you too, sweetheart. Get some rest. We all have triggers. We all have issues that you fall into a lot. It doesn't matter if you've done the shadow work, if you recognize it. Sometimes I recognize the trigger, I recognize the shadow, and it's right in front of me, and I'm like, this is a shadow. And I still walk into it. There are just some things that it is extremely hard to walk away from. And that's okay. You have to allow yourself to love yourself anyways. I'm back, got dinner in the oven. Perfect. Happens to everyone, but even the way we react to it maybe is the lesson. Exactly. Calling for you, Dana, anything. That's right. I'm so sad. I think this coincides with this damn cancer. I know, Christina. I know, honey. I haven't been allowing myself to sleep as well as I should. And I know the goddess gave me the cold so I could catch up on sleep before you go back to school. That's true. That could be. That could be. So, examples of issues that come up and what the lesson is. So I'm going to start with mine. My issue that comes up a lot, and I try not to do this in front of the boys, so we'll see, is I've said before, my motherhood issue. So I have an issue whenever anybody questions my ability as a mother, which comes up less now because my kids are all adults, at least age-wise, are all adults. All of my social, yep, good. I used to be the embodiment of my Scorpio sun and Aries moon, but around 40 something clicked. My Taurus rising has been teaching me. Good. And allow it to. That's good. So here's my example, and then you can take this and do what you want with it. My example is that there is some kind of trigger for me, and I recognize it, and I have done shadow work, and I have allowed that shadow work to work its way through and do the best that it can. But I will tell you that the trigger is there for a reason. So the trauma that happened was because, and I will not go too much into it because it's not, that part of it isn't mine to go into, but my two oldest boys were abused when they were 2 and 3 years old by someone who was close to us that I allowed into our lives. And they were sexually abused. And and this person was able to come into our lives because of me. And I'm not saying that as like I said, now I've done a lot of shadow work. I don't want to hear, oh, mama's not. I know all that. I'm beyond that. But he was. And so there's a blockade. There's something happens when you're a parent. You have, you feel the responsibility of protecting your children. And so when you fail at that responsibility, you feel like, and it doesn't matter if you didn't know, if there was no way you could have known, if there, all of that goes through your head, and you know logically that obviously you didn't allow that to happen, that you did, what you could, all of that stuff. At the same time, you failed your responsibility to protect. And there's a piece of you that knows that forever after. No matter what. I remember after that, my son Dustin was born. He was the next child to be born. And I remember almost the first thing. Now I saw him. I'm looking at this beautiful baby who's newborn. And my first thought was, I promise you, I swear to you, I will never allow that to happen to you. And then guilt because it happened the first time. So there's a trigger there that there is absolutely nothing. And I will tell you, I know ahead of time, there is nothing I could have seen that I didn't. I know that. I've done the work. I've done the shadow work. I know there is nothing I could have done differently in hindsight that I didn't do as soon as I knew anything. But always there will be a piece that anytime anyone brings up anything about my motherhood, I already do that to myself, So there's always a piece that says, oh no, you cannot get in there because I already know. I already know that I'm not perfect there. I already know that I've made mistakes there. I've already known that there's a failure piece. So how dare you try to tell me that I'm a failure because I already know. Even though, again, I've done the shadow work. I know. I'm not looking for, oh, you're great. Da, da, da. I know that. I know. But, and I love you all and I see it. I know. I grew up being abused. I've known all three forms. I snap when anyone yells at my kids, right? Absolutely. I had to start teaching myself there's a line and they need discipline, right? Because it was my dad who emotionally and physically abused me. I always fear I'll be the same. And absolutely, right? There's always that fear that that you'll somehow miss it again. That something will happen, that you will fail again in the same way. And there's the ego makes so much sense. Yes. From one mom to a mom. I love you too. Love you too. You guys know I love you. Kidnapped when she was 11, was found 13 days later. I bet, Barb. I bet. And even though, again, there's nothing you could have done. There's no way you could have known. There's nothing, but forever, no matter what anybody says, you will always go back and say, I failed at that. You probably won't get past that feeling. Exactly. But now I've done the shadow work, and this is the point. So the lesson was this. The lesson was I really do have to pay an exorbitant amount of attention to people's, first to my own instinct, right? Because part of why I think I felt so bad is because being empathic, there was a piece that said something was off. Now, I never would have known it was that, but there was always a piece that said something was off. And why didn't I pay more attention to that? And why, all that stuff goes through your head. But the other piece of it is to be aware that those people are out there. there is something, it's until that happens to you, it's like you just don't understand how that kind of evil can exist in the world and you not be aware of it as you stare at someone. Like, how could that happen? How could I not have recognized this evil when it was like standing in front of me? How could I possibly have not recognized that? So there is just the recognition that that exists in the world and it can be around you at any time is a lesson that I needed to learn. It's horrible that my family tries to manipulate that fear to make me a better parent every time I try to do things differently, right? My dad's death too. Yeah, I always have a hard time there too. In front of me, I couldn't do CPR. I was only 17. I always questioned if I hesitated because he was abusive, but paramedics even said there was no hope. I know, Cass, and that happens. Unfortunately, it's more common than people want to believe. Absolutely, Deb, for sure. And one of the things that I learned too, that I was like, what? Like, because they were so young, they were 2 and 3. Because they were so young, and I didn't realize this at all until this happened to us. In New York State, they are not allowed to testify until they are 12, I believe it is, 12 years old. They don't count as witnesses until they're 12, even though their stories were corroborated by each other. They both said exactly what happened when and all that at 2 and 3. Their testimony doesn't count in New York State until they're 12. So had I known that, now I didn't know that. So at the time when the police came and asked and questioned me and said, did you ever see anything? And I said, no. And did you ever suspect anything? No. Did you ever? No. And at the time I thought, why do they keep asking me this? Like over and over and over and in different ways. And had I known that at the time, I would have just lied. So, I bet predators love that. Exactly. Yes, they love that. Had I known that, even though I would have gone to jail for not protecting them, I would have lied and said, yes, I did see it once. And I explained it away, or I thought I didn't see it, or whatever. I would have lied in order to put this person in jail. But it never occurred to me for a second, knowing that the kids corroborated each other, that they told the exact same story, that it never even occurred to me that nothing would be able to happen because they weren't old enough to actually testify in their own case. Not in a million years. So nothing happened. Ever. So I now, after this many years, I mean, they are 26 and 27 now. Those laws need to change. Yes, absolutely. And I have fought against those laws for a long time. And that's one of the things I did to put a light on that shadow, is that I try to go anytime I can talk to senators and our local representatives and stuff. I try to kind of tell my story a little bit to say, hey, those laws need to change. And we have put several bills up on the floor, and so far it hasn't happened. Because I can see both sides now. It took me a long time, but I can see where sometimes kids get confused about details. And so I can see where it would be hard to just use their testimony. But I would think that you would be able to write the law that if it's known and you can, they corroborate each other and all that kind of stuff, that you still should be able to do that. But so that is my example. That is my issue in shadow, that I was able to see the lesson. It took me a very long time. Now we're talking 25 years ago. I hear you, Pat. I know. And had I known that, I probably would have done that. But I was so young when it happened, but I remember getting pulled out of my mother's arms and was told I was too young to even be in the courtroom. Right? Yeah. It's ridiculous. That is my issue, though, that I am using as the example. That, yes, I can see what lesson I have now been able to pull that shadow into the light when someone questions my motherhood and I flip out into a rage. I sometimes can stop it before it gets to that point and say, wait, they don't understand everything that's happened. And I had to go through that because not, and I want to make this clear. It's not, I'm not giving it a reason that it happened. I'm saying, what did I learn? Was I able to learn something from that experience? And yes, I absolutely was able to learn something from that experience. And that was, there was awful people in the world, that I had to look out for things differently, that I had to trust my own instincts, that, you know, there's ways that I grew that I would never have grown if that had not happened. Sorry, my allergies and my sickness are starting to kick in again. So I'm like, itching my nose. So that is my shadow example, guys. There are awful things that happen in our life that we put a wall up to protect ourselves, and then something else happens on the outside and you react instead of acting. So when that happens, you have to say, oh, that was a reaction that was not proportional to what happened. So where is the shadow? Where's the wall? What is it that made me build that wall? What's behind that wall that I need to look at? And remember, I'm almost done. There's only 3 things. There's 3 things you can do with that shadow. You break down the wall, you pull it out into the light, and you say, oh, okay, here it is. I got it. It's in the light. I recognize it now. I see what was behind that wall. 3 things you can do with it. 1, you look at it and you say, you know what? I did build that wall. I built that wall for a specific thing that I don't need to be protected from anymore, and it's not mine anymore. So I'm going to set it down and leave it. It is not mine anymore. Look at that. I got rid of a shadow. Good for me. 2, you pull this shadow out. You pull it into the light and look at it and recognize it and say, yes, here it is. There is something here. And you say, I don't think that I need it behind the wall anymore. It's not done. I'm not totally finished with it. I don't think I've totally put it beyond me. I think it's still mine. But I do think that I may be able to work on it a little bit. I do think that I may be able to start to recognize when something is making me triggered about this thing, that's what it is. So I'm going to put it back, but I know it's there and I don't have to put a wall around it anymore. Number 3, you pull it out, you recognize it, you see it for what it is, it's in the light, and you say, you know what, this is still something that is I'm not ready to deal with this yet. I'm not quite there. I still need to be protected from this thing. At least I pulled it out into the light now, and I know what's there. I'm going to put it back behind the wall and know that it's there. And someday I may be able to pull it back out into the light and work on it. And you know what? Good for me for being able to recognize that it's there and know that that's something I have pulled a wall around that is protected. And good for me for knowing that I still need that protection. Either way, all 3 of them are yippee for you. You did it. But there's 3 different things to do with it. Okay? I've dealt with my worst shadow, though I admit I've had some thoughts of how I would react if my shadows were ever bothered to find me. This makes me want to watch the Inside Out movie again, right? Good movie, for sure. Is it true, even if you pull it out and put it back up, yes, you're chipping away at it because you recognize it. At 49, I'm still working on something since I was 16. And good for you, Deb, for knowing that. for knowing what that is. You know what it is. That's a step in the right direction already. You may still need that wall, but you know what? You have the wherewithal to say, the wall still needs to be there. You don't want to break down a wall that isn't ready to be broken down. That as soon as you break it down, something happens that devastates you so much. Now you have to build up the wall even bigger and thicker and more, inclusive, and will never be able to get through. At least you can look at it and know it's there and say, yes, I do have something there that I need to protect still. Great. You know that, and you are able to recognize it. Good for you. That's the affirmation part of it that you have to stay with and keep it with the same thing. That good for you, that is essential in order to keep going with this work. Because if you can't affirm, if you can't look at it and say, whoo, you rock, sister, you rock, brother, good for you for being able to even pull it out and know that it's there, then you're not ready to do shadow work at all. And that's okay too, but don't bury yourself. Don't bury your whole self in that wall. Over the years, many, many walls. We all do, honey. It's okay. They all seem so fresh, and that's okay too, Renee. And if they all seem so fresh, you may not be ready to pull them out into the light, and that's okay. That is okay too. Okay, any questions? So the homework this time is to continue looking at television shows, looking at life circumstances. When you see something that makes you uncomfortable, write it down. What was the situation? Even if you don't understand how that applies to you, write it down. This is what made me uncomfortable. This is what was going on when I went, ugh. And then eventually you will learn why. The second part of that is to anything that you recognize. Now you've made that list of cringeworthy things. Can you go through and start to recognize anything that you have built a wall around? Can you look at one of them and say, oh, I know this shadow. I do know this one. Because we're going to take a couple of those, and next time we're going to start working on individual shadows that we're pulling out. Working on putting them in the light. Working on how we bathe them in light. What are we looking at? How do we decide which of the three things we're going to do with it? Okay? Does that sound good? Any questions? I think there are some things we have exposed at home but still need to protect outside the safety of family and friends. That's okay. That's okay. Yep. And again, just like Pat is saying, me too. Anytime that you guys need someone to, give you an affirmation, someone to bounce an idea off of. If you get stuck with something, you say, oh, wait, I pulled something out way too early. I'm not ready for this. Help me put it back. I'm here too. Shauna has, on a side note, if you need help with affirmations, positive thoughts, let us know. We will start posting positive affirmations everywhere. Okay? This is not easy work, guys. And I'm proud of you for even coming and, being willing to listen to what shadow work is. It's a big step. Okay, any questions? Anything? Before I go, I just want to say, if you are interested in the Relative Tarot, which I must have brought back downstairs, we do have a giveaway going on right now. If you're interested in it, take a look at the video that we unboxed it in. The creator, Carrie, offered to give us a copy of the Relative Tarot to use as a giveaway. And so it is, and the how and why is in that video. So you can go back and look. It is open until the new moon on the 24th. Okay? Yes, and Marge, happy birthday! For sure. And we will see you. I may be on tomorrow. I can't remember what I'm doing. But I love you guys so much. And, click the like button if you get a moment so that this video goes around to more and more people. If you're really interested in hanging out with us more, look at the Facebook page, which should be listed in the down bar down below here. And you're welcome to join us on our Facebook page too. Good night. Have a great night. We'll see you soon.